In this video, we're going to talk about how to compute basic numerical statistics from data and also how to group data. All right, so let's take a look. Let's compute some basic numerical statistics here. So here we have information on cars. All right, we've got types of cars, the prices of cars, miles per gallon, things like that. So suppose I want to compute the average mile per gallon for these cars. So what I'll do is I'll go to Stat and I'll go to Summary Stats. I want to summarize the data based on a column, right? The information is in a column. So now I'll choose which columns I want to summarize. So let's choose miles per gallon. You can actually choose more than one column if you wanted to do more than one. And then we're going to go down here and we're going to talk about which statistics we actually want to compute. You notice there's a lot of them. Well, let's do the average miles per gallon. So I might choose mean. I may also choose median. So I might choose both. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and hit compute here, and you can see it gives me a little blurb about the mean miles per gallon and the median miles per gallon. Okay, cool. Now, what we may also want to do is group the data. We might want to group the data into the different types of cars. Notice that the cars in this data set are organized with different types. They're labeled either small, mid-size, or large. So maybe we want to compute the means and medians for these cars grouped into their categories. So let's do that. Let's go back into where we made the chart. So we'll go to Options, Edit, and I'm going to go down to the Group By box, and I'm going to group by, well, we're grouping by the type of cars, so I'm going to choose Type here. Okay, so now when I hit Compute, you'll notice it's got a mean and median for each type of car. So this is a way we can group the data so we can make comparisons between the different types of cars. Now we can also do this grouping with bar plots. So let's go to our military data here. Here's data on the U.S. military. So what I might want to do is look at a bar plot of race, but I might want to compare bar plots across different branches of the military, Army, Navy, Air Force, and things like that. So what I'll do is I'll go create a bar plot like we did in a previous video. And I'm going to create a bar plot based on race, all right? And but what I'm going to do here, and I'm going to do we talked about in the last video how we wanted this to be count descending or count ascending instead of the other value that we had here. Watch that video for more information on that. And now I might want to group by, like we said, the branch of the military. So I'll have group by set to branch. So I'll go ahead and hit compute. All right, so what it's done here, it looks like it's just distinguished. It looks like the data only has information on Army and Navy here. It's grouped the data, so we have Army and Navy information side by side. Now, this is one way to set it up. Now, it's graphed the bars side by side here. There are other options. If you go to Options and Edit, you'll see there are other things we could do. The grouping options can be changed. One of the options we can choose is a separate graph for each group. Now, if you do a separate graph for each group, what it'll do is it will create a graph for the Army, and then you have to hit this arrow to see the graph for the Navy. And so by going back and forth between them, we can see the difference, right? But it might be easier to see the difference if we plot these side by side. All right, so go back to Options. And let's go down, and if you go lower here, you'll notice they have a rows per page and a columns per page. If I put rows per page equals 2, it's going to include up to 2 graphs on a single page, one for each row. So let's see what that does. Look at that. It's got 2 rows of graphs. I'm trying to change the size here. There we go. All right, so we can see them side by side. You can also do columns per page, in which case it'll have 2 columns, 1 graph per column. So they'll be side by side the other way. So we can graph them like this. So by looking at graphs side by side, we can make some interesting comparisons. So grouping data can be a very, very important and useful way to compare different groups of data.